but I want to move over into those Denver Broncos. And this is kind of a hypothetical kind of, I guess you can call it a speculation type of topic from us here at the Onside Kick. We got this idea from, I played a little clip of you from The Herd, and it was Nick Wright who was on The Herd today. He mentioned an idea, and at first we weren't going to go with it, but you decided, I'm going to put the blame on you, Mark. You decided you wanted to talk about this. It's interesting because what Nick Wright said was basically Denver should go to New Orleans and say, here's 2 firsts. Here's our next 2 first-round picks. Give us Drew Brees. Should it happen? Should that be the case? Should New Orleans take it? Should Denver offer that?
Well, I feel like if you... I'll take it from this standpoint first, and then we'll talk about Denver. For the Saints, you're a rebuilding team. You know you're a rebuilding team. You know you're not winning any Super Bowl this year. You know you're probably not going to the playoffs this year.
I got them 7-9 this year, and that's only because of Drew Brees.
That's fair. You know, you have they just went to the Super Bowl Panthers in this division, so you're not winning it. That's fine. You're probably not going to go to the playoffs at a wild card spot because there are too many good teams there. You've got the
Bears,
Packers.
the Packers, the Seahawks.
Exactly. You got the Seahawks.
Even the Redskins.
There's too many of these teams there. You're not competing with them. So you also look at Drew Brees and say, 37 years old. Maybe 2 years out of you. But even so, you know, we're not a playoff team. We just established that, and you are on your contract year. You can walk.
Well, and Drew Brees has said if he doesn't get a contract by week 1, he's not talking about it the entire season and will hit free agency. So they have, 4 weeks now? They have 4 weeks to get a deal done, or else he's going to hit free agency?
So I just think that the Saints have to be smart about this and say, yes, we know that Drew Brees has done so much for our organization, but he's not going to do anything while he's not going to do anything while we have him left. So let's get the most out of him that we can. It's something that, honestly, I don't think NFL teams do as well as NBA teams, as NHL or MLB teams. Football is probably the worst at this. You know, trading the guy when he's best to trade for you to take advantage of him. If you're going to be offered... I don't even care if the Broncos go and win the Super Bowl the next 2 years. If you're giving me 2 first-round picks, 32-32 in this situation... I need first-round picks. I need better players because I don't have those players right now. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. That's great. That's great. I can rebuild my team now. Yes, I don't have Drew Brees, who's a great quarterback, but you know what? That's fine. That's fine because I'm not going to win a Super Bowl with him anyways.
Let's use the 2016 NFL draft as kind of a barometer for if you had 2 first-rounders. Let's just say they had 2 first-rounders this year. Could they have gotten a quarterback to replace them? Well,
this year, no, because there's nobody we're taking. Just put it out there.
Hey, you know what? I'll even throw out there and say you could have, let's say you got that last pick, which was the 31st pick because New England didn't have one. If you had that pick, you could have taken like a Connor Cook. You could have. And there's going to be a guy... there could be a guy in next year's draft. No, there will be because he's a senior. In next year's draft by the name of C.J. Beathard. If you're not a college football guy, he's the quarterback for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Remember Ricky Stanzi?
Ricky Stanzi. But to me, he's a guy he's a better version of Connor Cook. He's a better version of that. You could get him late in the first round if he rises up to. Because I think that Iowa's going to have a good season. He could be in first-round talks at the end of the round. You can get guys in the first round. Or you could have even said, hey, you know what? We're going to try to package these 2 picks. Do kind of if you had a Jared Goff or a Carson Wentz that you felt good about, hey, let's package these 2 to try to move up with a team.
You know what you can do as well, of course, is just say... Forget about that. There's going to be some quarterback roaming around looking
Sam
for
Bradford.
a job. Sam Bradford, Jimmy Garoppolo, one of these type of guys. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo will have 4 games to try and prove himself, so why not? You can get a good estimate there. So you got 2 first-round picks in the next 2 years. Load up on defense. Get some offensive weapons. Just go for BPA in this situation. Forget about the quarterback because you can get somebody serviceable, and you can figure it out from there. I mean, it's something to think about for sure. If you are the Saints, don't fall into the trap of the kind of special place that Drew Brees has in your heart. Because we all know Drew Brees has a special place in your heart. Post-Katrina, won the Super Bowl, kind of helped rebuild, at least give some...
He built New Orleans.
I don't want to say that because there's still a lot of issues in New Orleans, but he at least gave everybody something to watch.
He gave them hope.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
And
so you got to ignore that and think about the longevity of this organization and what you need to do to build yourself something sustainable.
Make a business decision, not an emotional decision.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. But I mean, look at the other side. Denver, you got to do this in a heartbeat. You've got to do it.
If you can pull it off.
Well, the reason why I would offer it up if I was Denver, if we're going to look at the other side now for a little bit, you just got to the Super Bowl with Brock DeCock and Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, who was going out on a last leg. And you've got Von Miller back. You still have this defense there. Why not bring in Drew Brees, who I think could come in and do the same exact job that Peyton Manning just did, except for one difference. Mark Sanchez won't take his job for a little bit. That won't happen. So, I mean, and it's even if you have him for 1 year, if it's another Super Bowl, it's another Super Bowl. Nobody in Denver is going to complain.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that the Broncos do have to be careful with something like this because they are just kind of... You do set up a disaster in your quarterback room.
No, because this is what you can do. You're the Broncos. You already drafted your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is, even if it's one of those things where it's like, okay, Drew, we'll give you a 2-year deal. We'll give you a 3-year deal at the most. You can take him and kind of have a Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation where it's like, we got you this year. We'll give you a contract extension. Here you go. I'm not saying a huge one, just enough to kind of bridge the gap to let Paxton Lynch take some pressure off of him so he doesn't have to come in because he's got Drew Brees ahead of him. A guy who we know is on his last leg, isn't like Tom Brady and is going to say, hey, I'm playing till I'm 100.
Yeah, I think you got to cut Mark Sanchez in this situation. You got to get rid of him.
I say,
I think you got it because
cut either him or Trevor. Sanchez they both suck.
But Sanchez is coming in here expecting to start
making the more money. Yeah, I'd cut either of them because, like I said, they both are garbage.
I just think for the Denver Broncos, the only reason, I don't think they're going to do this.
You could cut both of them and just hold 2 quarterbacks.
The thing is, for the Denver Broncos, they're going to be mindful of the future because, they just had a huge deal with Von Miller. They struggled to have the money to be able to do something like that. Now you're going to have Drew Brees. You got to get kind of fancy in the way you mess with your money to get a guy like Drew Brees.
Well, you're going to have to do that. But it's one of those things that I think John Elway can pull it off.
I think it's kind of a dangerous move at the same time. Even though it's great, you can win a Super Bowl this year. You can win a Super Bowl possibly next year. Who knows? But you do kind of set this team up to be, we're winning now, and then we're going to fall off the face of the earth. It'll become very difficult to sustain anything because this team is basically, I don't know, you're just kind of continuously piling stuff on top of it, ignoring the fact that you don't have anything holding the base of this. And once you get that Super Bowl, maybe that's enough. Maybe you're happy with a second Super Bowl, but then it's all going to kind of fall apart.
Super Bowl. It's one of those things of how quickly do you want to start the Paxton Lynch era? That's it. Because right now, I'm in the same boat as Nick Wright. You know what? You got a good thing going. You just need that quarterback. You need that quarterback. That's the main reason why I have them as a double-digit loss team is because of their quarterback situation. Like, that's the main reason, because that's the most important position
I still think that everybody who says, I don't think that the Denver Broncos are going to be amazing this year, but everybody who, they're just forgetting that Mark Sanchez was on the Denver Broncos his rookie year. He was on the New York Jets, but it's the same team. Great running situation, great defense. He just has to be okay. Everybody
But I don't
ignores
think
that.
he's okay anymore.
I think he'll be just fine.
I don't think he is what he is, and I think that they have enough of a debacle there with him, Simeon, and Lynch. That's the one thing he never had to deal with in New York. There was no one behind him
Until Tim Tebow showed
threatening
up.
his spot. No one really threatened his spot.
Tim Tebow had a lot of fans calling for him to start.
Well, I mean, wherever he went, he had a ton of fans.
He won a playoff game.
He did. He won. That was against the Steelers.
He beat the Steelers
He also beat the Bears. Or no, I'm sorry. Marion Barbarian beat the Bears. That's what happened that
lost.
game. Yeah, Marion Barber defeated the Bears. But I'm in the boat of you do it if you're the Broncos. You know what? You've got a good thing going. A guy like Drew Brees can win you another Super Bowl. Kick that can down the road.
I think it's
Paxton Lynch will be fine.
I think it's a win-win for both teams, really. But at the same time, I think that the Denver Broncos are. If they do this move, they have to win a Super Bowl. They have to win one.
Oh, they do.
Because they're leveraging the future on this.
It's kind of like, I'll compare it to bring in basketball again. It's like the Warriors bringing in Kevin Durant. You're bringing in that guy you've got to win the title now if you bring in Drew Brees. But I got one question for you before we close off this podcast.
All right.
One last question. Peyton Manning was cited at Dolphin and New Orleans Saints camps this week. What's your read on this? And is this a Peyton Manning can't get away from the game, or Peyton Manning trying to get his foot in the door for either coaching or an executive position?
For sure, Peyton Manning will be coaching some team in the next 5 years.
Quarterback, coordinator, head coach?
Probably starting a quarterback coach. I really think that they'll probably set something up for him either in Denver or in Indianapolis if he's not going to be at Tennessee.
What about Miami with Adam Gase? Ex-offensive coordinator.
I just think that Peyton Manning's the kind of guy where he'll go with one of his personal connections. And I know that he worked with Adam Gase, but I think he'll go with somewhere that he was at. To me, he just feels like that kind of guy who wants to help out someone who helped him. This is not the year. I think right now he's probably just checking things out. He's probably helping a little bit, being a nice guy that Peyton Manning is, bringing pizza by or something. Who knows? But I just kind of feel that this is not the year. Next year's probably not the year. But then he's going to get bored. You can only play so much golf. And eventually you got to do something. And I think he's going to come back. Honestly, I think he skips the Tennessee. He skips college. Gets a job straight into the NFL, being a quarterback coach somewhere.
But that's going to do it for the onside kick this week. And before I do my old mumbo jumbo, what I usually do to close the podcast, we got a special announcement here at MVP. And this one's kind of special. It's usually with you, Mark, it seems like I'm giving special announcements to our fans about you each and every week now.
That's how it should be.
First, that you're getting engaged, a bunch ahead of all of us here at MVP, putting the old clock on us now to follow you there.
Yeah, what are you guys waiting for?
You're also releasing is this your first full album?
First full length.
First full length album, and I'm going to screw this up. I hope I don't. Science of the Soul is what it's called?
Correct.
It is Science of the Soul. If you guys want to check that out, that's going to come out the 9th, right? Next Tuesday.
August 9th, yeah.
Next Tuesday, yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp. Am I missing any of them?
I mean, it's basically anywhere that you're currently listening to music, you should be able to find it there.
So you can just type in Science of the Soul and find it. But the main reason why I brought this up is we are going to have, you got to check out MVP on Monday. That would be August 8th, because we are going to have an exclusive MVP single from Science of the Soul released live on our channel. So you got to check that out. It's going to be Monday at noon Central is when we are going to drop that, the exclusive from Mark's first full-length album, Science of the Soul. That's going to do it, though, for the Onside Kick. I want to thank you guys all for listening. Our Twitters are down below in the description. Make sure to head over to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to help out the channel, support the channel, more so than hitting the like and subscribe button, and obviously commenting down below. I want to thank you guys yet again for checking out this podcast. We will see you next week after the Hall of Fame game. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.